Oh, when you're
I'm
ready, Donna.
recording.
Okay, let me,
Okay,
all right.
so
What
let
I'd
me
like-
open the meeting and then we'll
Okay.
do our minutes and then you can take it away, Donna. So let's,
Thank you, John.
all right, so let me pull up the agenda. Oh, welcome, Bill.
Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
When you come up for air, I'm only here for a brief visit. I have a question for you.
Sure. All right. So this is the March 1st, 2021 meeting of the Ashburnham Website Review Committee. Present, we have John Mulhall, Donna Burton, Donna Michael, TJ Kelly, and guest appearance by Bill Johnson from the Board of Selectmen. Can I get a motion to approve? Hold on, let me get my notes here so I don't miss what we're doing. All right, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move,
All right, Donna, can I get a second?
Second.
TJ? TJ. All right. So Bill, let's before we do our minutes and stuff, let's get to you. So if you want to stay, I'd love to have you, and if you just want to get in, get out, that's fine too.
Well, I've actually got a Board of Selectmen's meeting tonight too, so I'm going from one to another. So,
all right.
Thanks for letting me jump in. So, we started budget last week. We had our first working session on Thursday. So, the general question I have for you, and I don't expect you to answer it for me right now, but as we work on putting the budget together, I want to set some money aside for the website for whatever we have to do. So what I'm looking for is some kind of a budget estimate as to what you think it's going to take to do whatever it is you think we're going to need to do.
Okay.
I've got a question, Bill.
Sure.
Is this a capital expense? Is this a personnel expense? What pieces in the budget are you looking for? Because there are different elements to do a website other than just a capital expense. There's equipment, there's funding to provide, there are different pieces of this. So what pieces of this budget are you looking for to expand on?
All of it. So I don't know anything about websites, and I know right now we have money budgeted in 3 different departments that for fees to, like Civic Plus, we have $4,000 budgeted for them to do whatever it is they do with our website. So if it's a capital expense, then it's got to be a minimum of $15,000, and it's got to have a life expectancy of, I think, 3 years are the basic criteria for that. So I guess it would be whatever components you think are valid for whatever it is that you think we need to do. I'd like all of it.
Okay, so that would include consulting services, any other improvements, anything else?
Yeah, I like I said, you don't know what you don't know, and I don't know. So it's and I don't want to rush you guys along because I know that what you're undertaking is a big project. But if we don't get a number or numbers, then we're going to miss the budget cycle, and there's not going to be a way to fund it next year. And I don't want to put us in that position.
And what is your deadline, Bill?
Well, I mean, we can make changes right up until town meeting. So I would say that, probably, let's see, we're in March now. So I would think that the budget will probably go to the advisory board sometime towards the end of this month, or the end of March. And again, a lot of it's subject to change, but I'd prefer to get it in on the early side versus the latter side.
Okay, and do you need quotes for anything that is any opportunities that we're looking for? Do you need more than one quote, or are you looking for a final number?
No, I'm not. I'm just looking for a budget estimate. So if it's something that, exceeds $10,000, then it'll have to go out to a bid or something, but that'll be handled by the town administrator whenever they define what exactly it is we're going to do. So whether it's quotes or bids, and I know there are dollar thresholds, but off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what those are. So I'm looking, like I said, more of a budget number.
All right, appreciate that, Bill.
Yeah, that sounds good. And that actually fits right in our timeline too, Bill, because we're trying to get this wrapped up in a presentation to you guys by the first meeting in April. So
Yeah,
This
and
this should
as you know,
dovetail.
John, because you sat in the chair, that, you're trying to figure out where the money's going to come from and how you're going to fund it. And this has clearly been identified as a sensitive area for the town and something we want to work on. And maybe you don't get there all in the first year. Maybe you only get part of the way there. But I think we definitely all want to show progress and improvement and end up with a better product.
Agreed.
Perfect.
Okay?
All right.
Thanks, folks. Enjoy the
Sounds good.
meeting. I'll see you.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right. So we can discuss that in the end during our discussion. That was good to hear from Bill. And it's always nice to know when you need to provide somebody something. So, all right. So I think the only other thing we had is we need to do an approval of the meeting minutes from February 8th. And,
I don't know if we all received copies of it.
oh, you know what? Maybe we didn't, because I have it in a draft state.
Yep.
So you know what?
That's
We can
off the
just-
list.
We can just skip that one. Were we going to do one last month, Donna? But no, that's it. That's where we are. Excellent.
Yeah, because our last meeting, it was only you and I, and there was
Right.
nothing.
I didn't have it then either. So, all right. We didn't have a meeting last week because it was special town meeting. So, all right. So picking up where we left off, and Donna, if you want to take it away with,
Yes, I'd
what
like
you
to
have
share
for
my
tonight.
screen.
Please do.
One of the things I'd like to do is basically, I've had to do this for my company because we've been trying to productize portals and websites, well, what portals, but in one of our issues has been trying to help our clients figure out what belongs on a website, what belongs on a portal. So, and since I work for all software developers, this is embarrassing that I had to do this for them, but I did. So let me see, oh, hold on. Let me do this, put this up. All right, I'll share my screen. This is the first one. I went online. Believe it or not, my guys didn't want to see this. I sent it to them anyway. Oh, we don't need to know this because we're software developers. Yes, but you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to portals and websites. So I went online to say, all right, if we were trying to show the differences, and this is also to explain it to a town meeting and to the Board of Selectmen, John. What's the difference between a website and a portal? I thought that this was kind of neat. Website and portals are different. Here's what it is: location, internet, single point of access, location on the internet, owned by this is user-centric, okay? So a portal is basically user-centric for the town of Ashburnham. Okay, it's owned, but the website's owned by the organization. This is user-centric. Two-way communication between a user and a portal. Users can't interact with a website. So from this definition, once you get to the ashburnham-mass.gov website, that's your interaction at the website level. But when you want to communicate with that, you go to the portal. So architecturally, you go to the website, and then there's a chunk below that to say, okay, then you have to go to the portal. It's not necessarily a knowledge domain. In fact, you don't want people to go in any further to get any basically proprietary data out of your domain. But you can act as a gateway in management. This was an interesting distinction, and I thought, man, I've been to too many websites like this. Seldom updates of the information sources. Portals, you constantly update this data. This is where our, town-specific, date-specific information should fit. This is where it's like Ashburnham newspaper. This is where it fits. Okay. Now, web is typically a knowledge management system, or there are horizontal portals. Okay. Interlinked pages hosted from the same domain, user-centric, website owned by an organization. All right, now I've got another one. I like this visual. Hello. Come on, you've been up all day. I know you have. It's late. My God, when I hate when Comcast is slow. Ah,
You must hate it a lot.
you know, it hasn't been that bad.
Yeah.
Even this year with everybody working at home,
Mhm.
it still hasn't been that bad. May have to refresh. I'm hoping not to. Come on, baby. You can do this. Come on. Let's do this. But what I've been trying to do is try to figure out how do we physically create that model to show people. Let me stop sharing for a minute, see if I can get this back again. I'll go back out, put it back in again. Anyway, I think what we need to present to them is so that they understand the difference between portal and website, because I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Mm.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. Hold on. I'm trying to bring it back up again.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm actually. I tried to take a quick screenshot of that address you had, but I missed it, so I just did Life Ray.
Oh, okay.
Oh, mine just came up now.
Oh, did yours?
Just now. If yours doesn't come up, I could share mine.
Oh, let's see. Okay. No, share yours because mine's
All right.
just being a bum. Of course, I'm
Yeah.
in North Ashburnham and plowing and Comcast is an issue. So what can I
Right.
say?
Yeah, let me pull this out. So a separate
Okay.
screen and
Boom.
no, I want to share particular. I have too many windows open.
That's what I think my problem is.
Yep.
This
Let's. Geez,
is a nice graphic.
there it is. Got it. Share.
There it is. Okay.
There it is. Is this the one?
Yes, this is what I think we can work with this. We can work with this graphic because it's actually it's a fountain off of the company page. You get into the login, and then you can go into hello. This is your access page for you, and so you can personalize access depending upon who you are and what you need to know. So it's the personalized information off of the website that gives you your own portal. That's like a commercial portal. So for instance, if you have your own Best Buy page, you can go into your own portal with your login and you know exactly what you've bought, right? And we can use that like a Best Buy as an example. You know what you've bought, what your purchases are, how many, credits you have behind your name, and what's coming and what kind of, what offers are available to you. Or you can back arrow out, and you can go back up to the Best Buy page. But this is what we need to explain to them is this isn't as if this is a personal page. This is your very own view into www.company.com or ashburnham-mass.gov. Okay, this is your view. So if we created a portal correctly, Donna Burton, you could have your very own view into the Ashburnham page. John, you could have your own view. TJ, Donna, Michael, we could each have our own view. So if I'm interested in knowing, what the hell is going on with the roads, awrsd.org, you could actually, if we created this correctly, you could actually create your very own portal on this page with your own widgets, right? And have your own information. And so the knowledge behind that portal would be generic for everyone. But based on your parameters on that portal page, it would pull for John, it would pull for Donna Burton, it would pull for TJ, or it would pull for Donna Michael. And this is the specialization that you can do with a portal that you can't do with a web page. And I think this is what we need to explain Oh God, I don't know how we can do it to everybody in Ashburnham, but this is what we need to explain is what we need to build our web presence. Is it's not just a question of having a website.
Mm.
It's a question of we tune the portal so that we do a pick, you can pick what widgets you want on your portal. You can pick the content you want on your portal. Do you want to do dog licenses? That goes on your portal. You want to pay your taxes? You move that onto your portal. Anything you want on your portal, that goes on your portal. Ray, hello, Ray. What do you need to know about Ashburnham today? There can be generic content on there, but you can also have specialized content.
So if
That's your window.
so we could even, this would allow us to do something. Let's say that I'm very passionate about Concom and everything the Concom does.
Yeah,
We could probably set this up in such a way that I could see all notices and minutes from Concom meetings and things that they're doing and hearings and things like
yes.
that.
As long as we create the site and the portal with the correct intent. What are we doing with this? Why are we putting this together? Is it for knowledge distribute? Is it for knowledge management? Are we trying to get all the information out to the right people at the right time? We're not trying, it's a town. We're not trying to sell anything. So that's easy. This is not
Right.
this is not an income generating page. So as long as we create that architecture from, here we have the company login down to the Hello Ray login. You need to be able to create that architecture correctly to have the portal architect and the website, well, that's usually the same person, to make sure that that workflow, that information flow is connected correctly and constructed correctly so that those ties are there. Make sense?
I think I understood what I thought what a portal was. This is helping a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's the word, it's the opening to the magic kingdom. I'm
That's what we
sorry,
should call it in the presentation.
Oh yeah, that'll go a long way.
They'll say, what
Especially
were you
with
guys?
somebody like Bill. Hi, Bill. It's the opening to the magic kingdom. Can you imagine his face?
Say, what were you guys doing during those meetings?
Wow. How many mushrooms did you guys grow? A lot of
Kidding.
them. Mm.
All right.
So that's what I'm thinking. I think we need to be able to give people that kind of explanation so they know the difference. I'm not sure how many people give a damn about it, but I think those who do, especially those who are funding us, because this architecture is harder to do than an electronic yellow page.
Mhm.
And that's what most people think they're going to get on a website. So if we need something bigger than an electronic yellow page or having Steve Nims yell about, I'm not giving you anything because I don't want to talk to people, then we need to have a rationale for this. Okay. So that's my thought.
And
So-
I think, go ahead, finish up.
I was just gonna have a question. So like things that get posted, it would automatically get posted in here?
It would get, there would be a repository, a database, I'm sorry, repository is like a 30-year-old word. There would be a database, a knowledge management database, where
Okay.
all postings would go. And
Mhm.
then in the appropriate architecture, you would say, where does this information belong? Well, actually, it belongs on www.company.com website. And then it would have links to anybody who would want to have information about, let's say you have something about the highway department. Who has interest in the highway department? So it would create a
Like to address
linkage.
people.
Yeah. Or, well, let's do something, Conservation Commission, that might have more fun. But what it would do is you would create it with the appropriate linkages, so that people would know there's new stuff in here. And it should, if that's an extremely expensive construction, but you could do it so it would immediately flow down into each one of those. They're like waterfalls, workflows. So it should, but that costs more money. I would just put it in knowledge management and say, hey, look over here, Ray. Got some more stuff about here. News about. You could have like a news panel that they might be interested in. Current events about Steve Nims. That would just be fun to put up there to drive him nuts. But other than that, just for fun.
So another angle is that the town has a bad reputation among the people who live here. And unfortunately, I think it's fairly unfounded that we're not business friendly. And I think it comes from a misunderstanding of what business friendly is. People think business friendly is you don't need permits or anything and you just can roll in and do whatever you want. And the town just says yes. And unfortunately, there is no town like that. And if they are, they're unincorporated towns and there's no business there because you can't get there.
They're in
So,
Kentucky.
yeah,
Kentucky.
exactly.
Yeah.
So with this, if I'm a business person,
Mhm.
developer, contractor, whatever it is, and I'm able now to process permits through this very quickly, interacting with the building department. If I can't get in there because I've got too many things going on, but I've got a permit that I can submit and have approved and have waiting for me to pick up digitally through this, then I think that is something that we can definitely say out loud that we are business friendly because look how we're trying to interact with businesses in the community.
Right. You could create a people portal. You can create a company portal. You could create a business portal or a vendor portal. You can create multiple flow downs. You don't only have one Hello Ray. You can have Hello Ray citizen. You can have Hello Ray contractor. You could have Hello Ray real estate broker, but you have to be careful with that to make sure that you don't violate your nonprofitness as a company, as a town.
Right.
That's all. You would just need to make sure that it always rests in the area of knowledge management.
Okay. All right, great.
I think that's a good idea, but right now we don't have building permits. We don't have, we got to work on getting that other stuff.
You need to be able to create electronic versions of all of the paper shit that we've done in this freaking town for over 40 years since I've lived here. The idea that we do stuff in paper terrifies me. Absolutely terrible. Since I went down the first year I lived here and was told I hadn't paid my property taxes, and then I was told, oh, well, maybe you did, but we had a fire. You had a fire and you're trying to tell me why I didn't pay my property taxes because you had a fire in the town hall? Well, I have a receipt here from the bank that said, oh shit, here's your canceled check. So it would be nice to get rid of all of the paper burden. Do you know how much money you would save doing that? And transfer costs you would save doing that? If we had direct, this town would save a boatload of money getting rid of the 18th century, 19th century processes.
Yeah.
Oh, kidding.
And I have a feeling, Donna Burton, kind of to your point, where a lot of this stuff is not currently, the way that we do it isn't currently tailored towards going to a portal. I think
not yet. We have other things in place.
Right.
Right.
We have to have building permit, the program, which I believe they're still trying to work on getting. We do have a new building commissioner now, and she definitely wants a program down there. Well, we've been fighting to get a program for 3 years.
But this is part of why this can't be just the Ashburnham website committee. That's why I was asking, Bill, how do you want this priced out? Because this is not just a committee decision. This is going to be a decision of every committee, every organization within this town to stand up, pull on your big boy pants, grow up and join the 21st century, because it cannot be done piecemeal. And we can't have people sitting on the fence and saying, I didn't want to do it that way, because it doesn't work. That's how technology does not get adopted. That's how it gets rejected. It gets rejected in businesses, large and small. Talk to a friend of mine who came, he works with me. He came from IBM. IBM has been trying to get rid of my company for the last 10 years. They can't do it because they have people who are resisting change. Parts of IBM are actually using, are you ready for this? Green screen in managing their services function. Green screen left in 1980. Green screen computers.
I've
And
never even
yet-
heard of green screen.
Well,
Me
that's because
either.
you're far too young, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's just say white character. Let's say white characters on a black screen. This is green screen. This
Oh, that's
goes
what you're
beyond
talking about.
GUI. No GUI. This is like having shit pump out on text. Like those old screens from the FBI movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had people who felt more comfortable with that because they didn't want to learn anything new.
Wow.
Right. Okay. But I work in a company with developers who learned their developing skills in 1990. They don't want to go to Java. They don't want to go to GUI either. So we've actually, kind of pasted pig on a lipstick on a pig and created a baked solution that sort of kind of looks like it's got a GUI front end, a visual front end, but it's not true. And why? Well, because our developers don't want to learn anything new. So this is universal, Dawn. This is not, John, this is not something that is just Ashburnham. This is everywhere. If you can't get everybody on the same page, then I'm going to tell you right now, don't start.
Yeah.
Because all you're going to do is spend a few, $20,000, $30,000, and you're going to be sitting back here in 2 years saying, well, what do we do? By then I hope to be in Portugal retired.
Right. I think that one of the keys to getting something like this adopted, I went through a similar thing where I do mobile data acquisition at my company, and it took 2 years for people to start finally believing that we could do this once they understood what it was, that it wasn't just a sheet of paper that showed up on a tablet and you basically wrote on it with a pencil, just like you would, only it's a digital piece. Once they've started to learn that, we had one big success that everyone knew about and half the people worked on. And with that one big success, we could just point to it and say, and look how well it's working here. So whether it be, Concom, DPW, whoever, if we can identify a department that, and Donna Burton, you probably have your finger a little bit closer to this pulse. If we could even identify a department that we could kind of,
That's it.
Proof of concept.
Proof of concept, they could be the pilot, and then we could point to them and all the other departments would say, oh, it went really well in land use. But maybe this isn't such a terrible thing, and I actually can stop writing in a notebook and just start.
It sounds like a great idea because, even doing the dog licensing, if people could, just pull up their dog's name and see, okay, they have my dog expired, let me plug in my new rabies, or put in the information, and then boom, process their payment and get their tag,
Right.
So it does. It sounds like a great idea.
Yep.
We just need to overcome resistance to status quo, and that is the hardest thing to overcome.
Right. And I think that as if we do what Bill said, give them a budget estimate. We'll have to come up with that, for the next meeting or two, even before we're done with our presentation, just so they can start talking about a number. If we can do that quickly, and let's say we don't know who's going to go first, that gives us a little time to think about it, but it also lets them, and especially lets Brian know, the town administrator, what we're proposing. And like Bill said, we can do it in 2 phases. But let him know what we're proposing, and he may see a place where this is going to be a good place to roll it out.
That's an idea too. Just let him, who's the most likely one he can think of would
Exactly.
be a good idea. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I hate to say this, but now that I've got you all mixed up in this, I'm really about ready to drop dead here, so I'm gonna log off. I'm having long-term COVID issues, so
Yeah, that's a
I have to go
real
in.
bummer. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
No,
So,
it's only been a year.
right,
I
yeah.
just gotta.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll wind down soon.
Yeah, I would like to think so before I'm old enough to not worry about it anymore.
Right.
Okay. So I'd like to, do you guys still have a quorum without me?
Yes.
Nope. Oh,
Yep.
okay. So thank you very much. I would be happy to do this part of the presentation if you'd like. Otherwise, whatever you'd like.
Sure. And I think that next week, if we can do it, unless someone thinks we need to wait a little longer, maybe we can get Braxton in here to talk about
Perfect.
the products they have.
Okay.
All right.
All
Great. All right, Donna,
I
thank you.
just spoke to Braxton today.
Oh, yeah?
Thanks. I'm
Wanted to
dropping
know
off.
how we were doing, and I said, you're gonna hear from John real soon.
See you
Excellent.
next week, guys.
All right,
All
Donna,
right,
good night.
thank you, Donna.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was good. It was good for me, especially to understand some of the other ways to look at that. You know, like I've said before, we all call portal. In my company, everyone calls the portal something different. And part of that's IT's fault because that's what they rolled it out to it. They rolled it
Now,
out to us.
Yeah, but if Braxton can't do it on our website, would that be something like our IT people could?
It looked like when I was bopping around in the Civic Plus offerings, it looked like they have various types of portals for kind of some of the things that Donna was talking about. So I
Okay.
think that's part of their offering. They should be able to integrate it.
Okay.
And there's probably a lot of other stuff. Like you said, there's a lot of other stuff. Like that's great, you've got it, but you know, you log in, there's nothing there because that's not how we're using technology right now in the town hall.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So we would have to probably have some kind of a training on it.
Absolutely. And we would have to, like, I'd probably smart to do it in a piece at a time
Yeah.
and see how it goes. So start with, I mean, geez, start with the stupid dog licenses. I mean,
No
that's,
kidding. I'm already in it.
I mean, it's just you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
it's kind of just one thing. It's just the dog licenses. So it's getting the payments, sending out the tags and collecting the rabies vaccinations and then sending out the delinquent notices. So
Right.
it's not dealing with, you know, fire department inspections plus the plumbing inspector and then electrical and my building permit. And it's just a deck. It's not a shit. All that stuff goes away.
Mhm.
And maybe this software that they're looking at getting down in building department, you know, maybe that has a component to it that we need to know about. If they're targeting some software down there, we would need to be able to know if that dovetails directly in or whether that's just going to be generating PDFs that have to then get put into the town portal to get traded back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she wanted to use something from whatever town she came from.
Do you know where she came from?
I think Shirley. I think
Okay.
the last town that she was in Shirley. But I think she wants to get a program, and everybody's been wanting to do it, you know, and incorporating all the departments like fire, DPW, along with the land use and the dogs, you know, get them all in with this program.
Okay.
But I
Excellent.
don't know where they are on that, you know.
Right. That's why we need a technology oversight committee.
Yeah.
All right. TJ, any thoughts on portal website discussion? Because after that, I want to roll into the review of the survey results.
Well, I think we're right to focus on the changes required to the processes internally, right?
Mhm.
Donna's absolutely right. Both Donna's right. The amount of paperwork that has to get converted to digital format that's a big hurdle. So, you know, I'm a little I don't know. I think Donna's warning about if it's not going to work, don't start that's kind of a tough thing to answer ahead of time. But it's a valid point, right? We don't want to end up here 2 years from now and 30 grand in the hole, like she said, if it didn't work, right? And I don't know how to avoid that, but everybody I've ever talked to about this is what they want. It's the functionality of, I should be able to do this on the website. Well, as soon as you make that an active verb like do, now you're into a portal and not just, I want to be able to read this. That's fine. We can read anything.
Right.
If you want to do something. So it's the right direction. And I think this might be a good segue into portal or into survey results, because that's what they want. How easy is it to XYZ? Everybody says it's hard to do that on a website. So, I don't have the answers. I'm not sure how easy or hard it is for us to convert over all those systems, but that is, the way of the world, and it's the goal we should be striving for here.
Right. And some of those systems are quite literally a notebook. So, maybe just using Excel instead of a notebook in some cases might be step one, but there's steps 2, 3, and 4 that probably, I think you're right. We don't know if it's going to fall on its face, but I think if we get behind it and push, and we get the TA to get behind it and push, and we show the value, I'm more of a pull marketer than a push marketer type of person. Like, I want to show you how awesome it is and have you call me than me cold call you. But at some point, you do have to cram it down their throats, but you got to be able to show how awesome it is once they've swallowed it. So.
Yeah, I lost. I had a thought there, but I lost it. Yeah, we'll come back to it. That's fine. Let's move on.
All right. So what have we got for survey results so far?
So our last one came in February 28th. So there are still people being somewhat active. That was only yesterday. And there was a considerable break. However, the one before that came in the 17th. So for all intents and purposes, it's been 2 weeks since really anybody has done too much with this. The first one was the 4th. So we got a solid 2 weeks of, heavy activity, and then it tapered off pretty quickly. So our grand total is 38 responses.
Cool.
Which is, it's not bad.
Yep.
For Ashburnham, not bad at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And, also for Ashburnham, they don't all say terrible, terrible, terrible across the board, which, you might think if you paid attention to those groups all the time.
Yeah.
But, I'm looking at the spreadsheet here, and, they're color coded based on what the response is. And extremely hard is red, and, extremely easy is green. And then somewhat in the middle goes to like a yellow, right? So pretty much across the board, we trend in the yellow, maybe slightly, orange of center, if that phrase makes any sense, slightly in the direction of being on the harder side, but there's some green sprinkled in there. So, I'd say we'll get about I'm going to call it a C+ average or something like that.
Okay.
But it is not a resounding F, right? So we should feel somewhat good about that, but it's pretty clear we have our work cut out for us, right? Very few things are listed here as it's extremely easy to do that on our website. I think the only thing that's scoring points like that is meeting minutes, for example, like the stuff that happens on a pretty procedural day-to-day basis, especially now that they're all over Zoom and they're digital anyway, right? That probably made things a lot easier in that regard.
Right.
So that's what we've got, and I have not poured over every word in every cell here, right? There's 38 responses, and we go from column B down to column M, right? So what's that? A solid 15 anyway, columns. So there's a lot of answers in here, but in what I am reading through it, this portal direction would satisfy a lot of these things. And I want to be able to order this kind of a certificate. Dog licenses gets brought up a lot, but so does stuff like birth certificates, right? Property info, right? Tax information, that kind of stuff. There are some business requests on here, like for example, what's open within the town. That gets brought up mostly in like departments, DPW, police, town hall, that kind of stuff. But there are some, like, I would love to know which businesses are open right now. I'm not sure how much of that the town's website can accomplish, unless that portal, like Donna Michael was saying, allows business owners to come in and add their own information. Right. Then okay, great, now it's on you, right? But there's still the functionality required on our end to enable them to do that, and that's a question for Braxton. But so that's what we've got. I shared the link around the last time I was on a call, which admittedly was a number of weeks ago now. So I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to look at some of these responses, but
I
That's
think
what's
it,
in there.
I just shot back, I clicked on it and it asked me to request access. So I did that.
Okay. And it's which email address?
Let's go. It was right on the site. You had provided a couple links when we launched. And if I can pull it up quickly, I can tell you exactly
I just mean which email address of yours would you like? Sure.
For me, you can
Mulhall
send it.
John?
Yeah, mulhall.johnc is good.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. So you should have that coming your way right now.
Excellent. Thank you. I've been sending things hopefully to the right address, TJ. I just realized that as I was remembering conversations we had.
For me or to the
For
town?
you. So if I'm going to email you with stuff.
I got your reminder today about tonight's phone call.
Okay.
But
And was that
the last
right?
thing I remember seeing from you?
Okay. Was that the right email address to send it to?
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, excellent. All right. So yeah, so I'll peruse that. We can all take a look. So I think that our next step is to invite Braxton on. I'm going to try to get on the phone with him ahead of time and just kind of get some of my own questions answered, just so that I'm not slowing down the conversation as a group, and so that I can kind of prepare him with some of the things we want to talk about. And I'm going to see if I can get him to come on for our next meeting on Monday, if that works for you guys.
Yeah.
All right, great. And the same thing with, once we've kind of laid out what we want to do, if we could get some ballpark numbers from him, then we can go report back to the BOS and they can start talking about that number. So that'll be good. And, depending on how well finances are doing, maybe we'll get some of it. Can't imagine we get all of it, but great.
One thing I do want to add, and I'm sorry, this is back up a step here, but we did get 2 other people who said they would be interested in helping with whatever process is on the website. Might we want to invite them to start joining these meetings?
Yeah, there's no harm in that. We are down a person technically.
Right.
We kind of talked about whether it was worth it trying to go out and hunt for somebody at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are close to, we're a month away from doing our final proposal.
Mm-hmm. Well, I asked that question because, our final proposal, as it were, maybe I'll put some air quotes on the word final. I think that this might turn into a phased thing, right? If we're going to recommend this portal, in some miracle, everything gets approved budget-wise and plan-wise and everything, I suspect the board will still want, especially Donna, right? If she's going to be the architect here, I think they'll still want some input from us. Okay, great, thanks for the recommendations. Now when we come to implement them, we need you guys to help out a little bit.
Right.
So maybe we wait until after that phase or whatever to ask these 2 folks, or not. I guess, can leave that one to the group, but they are expressing some interest. So.
Yeah, well, you know what?
They can always put in their request to the town administrator's office.
Yeah, if they want to join the
board.
committee.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Tell them to send an email to Mary Calandrella.
And actually, if you want, TJ, unless there are people that you know personally, I can reach out to them as chair.
I don't recognize the names yet, so
okay. Yeah, if you want to send them, send them to me, or I'll see them when I open up the file. And I think that is a good idea, because if they're that's the cardinal rule in town government. If somebody expresses the slightest interest, you latch onto that person, and you never let go.
Right. Yeah.
So we could invite them to these meetings, and let's see if somebody feels like they want to be part of the committee, they can go and they can apply, or we could even make it into a 6-person committee for now, or we could just keep it at 4 and they can just participate. That's fine.
All right. Well, I sent you their contact info.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Good. How do we feel about this path forward? Do we feel like we're gonna be able to get some recommendations together for April 1st?
Well, on the portal thing is what's going to cause me to, give me pause on the answer to that question, right? Before that direction, it was, update navigation, right? It was fairly standard things, maybe improve search functionality if possible. I think actually Braxton and his team came back and said, no, we can't do much there. But anyway, the portal discussion, I think, takes us in a great direction, but it's a much bigger project than the Yellow Pages, I think was Donna's analogy. So I don't know. Now, all of a sudden, I wonder if we can make any recommendations without really answering a lot of solid questions on this portal topic. So, given that our charge is supposed to be, wrapped up in a few weeks here, maybe that is, also done in phases. We have a non-portal recommendation set first, and then the last bullet item or something is, see addendum for portal recommendations still pending, or, something like that. Because that way we can at least cover our bases. We've done what the board has asked us to do. And we still leave it open to if they are interested in renewing the charge or however it would work next. But I think the portal discussion cannot really be wrapped up between now and April 1st. I think that maybe Donna would have different, opinions on it, but that's a big topic. So,
yeah, I tend to agree with you because, as Donna Burton has pointed out, that we don't really have anything that lends itself right now in town hall to be portalized. Right. So it's going to take coordination with all the other departments to make it worth it. Because if we do have a problem with adoption, or we do have a problem with technology, like systems don't talk, and we've recommended a portal, it's like if we recommend a portal that works on Mac and everyone's got a PC, we've got an issue. Mm-hmm. So I think you're right. I think that we can certainly propose it. And I think when we propose it, it's going to be, just as you say, it's going to be proposed with, I've always talked about the phase 1, phase 2, but I think the phase 2 is going to include more planning.
Yeah.
It's not just writing a bigger check. And if we turn the portal feature on, I think it's, we write a bigger check next year after we've done all the groundwork to set up a portal. I have a feeling that, I don't know. I was going to say I have a feeling that they're going to be disappointed with that answer, because I think they're going to want us to be able to deliver a portal, but it's bigger. There's a lot more. I mean, it's totally redoing the way the town hall operates, kind of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and again, I'll reiterate that, and that's just my opinion here, but I still think that is the right move. I think that everybody, anywhere else you go, your bank or somewhere else, you can do it online. And
what other town does a portal? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. That is a good question, and maybe that's something else we could ask about. Maybe Donna Michael has insight on that one. But if you take it outside the realm of municipalities, and you go to the state level, right? We all know people who are trying to get a vaccine shot right now, and while the rollout might be terrible, the process is still digital. You can go online to a portal and request it somewhere, right? If you did anything with the mass health insurance, again, the rollout is debatable and has its flaws, but it's online. You don't have to go to stand in line somewhere and fill out a piece of paper. You can do it online. So there are certainly examples in place of municipalities, though the larger, right? Sure. So I don't know, another small town like ours, I don't know, but I still think that's the right direction. A big project, but the right one.
But if it costs a lot of money to do it, perhaps we could qualify for some kind of a grant.
Yeah,
that's true as well.
For IT technology.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There might be an opportunity in there for somewhere on the accessibility front, because if a digital format doesn't require you to drive somewhere and walk in, up a flight of stairs to fill out a piece of paper, that I assume is going to be a win for folks who would have a hard time driving and walking up those stairs.
Right.
So I don't, maybe someone.
But also those kind of folks don't have access to computers.
Well, that might be its own challenge, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. That sounds good. Anything else we need to talk about along those lines, or anything else for tonight?
Not on my end. I'm good.
I'm good, John.
Okay, Donna. Well, that sounds good, guys. Then I'll be in touch with Braxton this week, and we'll set it up for next week, 6 o'clock. I'll put out a quick agenda here, Donna, and I'll get these minutes out as well.
Yeah,
Not,
so I can post them.
Yep. And then we can just keep moving on here. And I think I'm going to start kind of skeletonizing a way to present this to the board, looking at what they asked for. And I'm going to use that as the template for how we're going to communicate what we've been doing, and leaning towards this yellow pages now, portal later after much more work.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm happy to review that, John, if you
Yeah.
would take the first crack at it.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be great.
like
Thank
that.
you. I will pull something together and kick it over to you.
Then maybe Braxton can give us, some kind of a quote or estimate for maybe even going to a next step up in what we currently have for web. I've seen, I can't remember which town it was, but I think it might have even been Westminster. They have more, like in their news and notices, we only can put like 3 items in there. They're able to put more. So
Yeah.
That is definitely a, I'll call that a Braxton level fix, or at least question.
Yeah.
Hey, how come I'm limited to 3 here? Can you give me some more? Right. And maybe the answer is no. I don't think it should be, but at least that's not changing a dog license system. That's just, hey, what can Civic Plus do
it could
for
be
us?
just a matter of revamping the whole front end of the page or something, put things that aren't necessary on, that need to be on there, move it somewhere else.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. That sounds good, guys. Then I'll get in touch with Braxton. I'll try to reach out to him tomorrow, and then get you these things. TJ will get you that draft.
Get me an agenda.
Get Donna an agenda and draft minutes out to the group. I'm going to make some notes for myself here.
Yeah, because the sooner I post our agenda for the next meeting, the less people will look at me to host their meeting.
Right. Okay. Call it, all right. The other thing that I should probably do is I might try to get in touch with Brian and just talk to him a little bit about kind of what our thoughts are for the portal idea, and see if he can maybe direct us a little bit with where he would like to see us start with the portal discussion, because that might help guide the conversations a little bit. If we know that we're targeting Conservation Commission first, that might help us with our talking points and planning plan. So, all right, guys.
Well,
Anything
I
else?
heard
Yeah.
that they're looking into getting like a writable program, PDF writable program. So if they do that, a lot of the forms can go on up.
Oh, right.
If we can get, convert the PDF into a writable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Yeah, that'll be very helpful. It's tough when you can't do things like that. It's almost like wearing oven mitts all the time to me.
Well, we're antiquated. We got to get into the 21st century.
Right. It's okay when everyone else is using a pencil, but when you're the last one using the pencil, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Anything else?
No.
All right, super. Then let's see, what time did we start this? We started right at 6, didn't we?
A little bit after.
6:01. All right. And so I'll take one more motion tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Night.
you.
Good night.
Yep.